بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we're going to begin today. We had a little look last week at Surat Al-Fatiha, some of its benefits and names. So today I want to begin on the next surah, Surat Al-Baqarah, which is titled ما ورد في فضل سورة البقرة عامة وبعض آيات منها خاصة or بعض آيات منها خاصة. On mine, page number 161. We'll just look at some of the fawaid. This is a quite an important section actually. I want to start off with the concept of the Quran being a healing element or something that heals people. So we generally have the tradition of our ulama historically is that the verses of the Quran can bring peace of mind and things like that, and to settle somebody's heart, but they also have a tangible reality as well in that, or they affect as a tangible reality where these ayat of the Quran can actually change somebody's spiritual state entirely. So we do have that belief. I know there's this thing going around that some people believe, oh, the Quran is only shifa lil qulub and things like that. And reading the Quran has no other type of benefit. But our tradition doesn't teach us that. It teaches us that just because people can't understand something, it doesn't necessarily make it untrue. But we've had a historic tradition of the Quran being having healing powers, the words of the Quran, the words of God, for people, and many other things as well. And we have many hadith for that as well, and some inferences in the Quran itself. Now, in this particular chapter, Surat Al-Baqarah, Sanam al-Quran. So, firstly, what is Sanam? Sanam is the peak, or you could say the summit. The summit of a mountain is called a Sanam, or the peak of something is called a Sanam. I think actually even the camel's hump is called that as well, Sanam. In the first hadith, عن معقل بن يسار رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام قال البقرة سنام القرآن وذروته نزل مع كل آية منها 80 ملكا واستخرجت الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم آيات الكرسي من كنز تحت العرش فوصلت بسورة البقرة. Now, very interestingly, it states in this narration that Baqarah was revealed to the Baqarah with 80 malak, with 80 angels. And then this particular verse, what we call Ayatul Kursi in the Quran, Allahu la ilaha illa al-hayyul qayyum, that particular verse was taken from the treasure beneath God's throne. What that means is symbolic. We don't know what that actually means, but it's a human language to fattaqrib, la li tahdid, this idea of amr taqribi, so we can kind of understand something. فوصلت بسورة البقرة, and it was added or made part of Surah Al-Baqarah. And then the hadith continues where Yasin qalbul Quran, Yasin is the heart of the Quran, لا يقرأها رجل يريد الله والدار الآخرة إلا غفر له. That person does not read it intending Allah and the hereafter except that person is forgiven. اقرأوها على موتاكم, read it upon your dead. This hadith has some weakness, but the ulama generally use it as an evidence to prove that Surah Yasin, Imam Ahmad narrates this, should be read for the deceased. Surah Yasin specifically. In other traditions, we have like practice of the Sahaba. One of the companions who died, he said, when I die, when you bury me, after you've buried me, stand there and read Surah Al-Ra'd on my grave. So we have this idea of reading Quran for the dead. I've already mentioned it in my Afterlife series in some detail. So you can check it out there. Surat Al-Baqarah Hisnun min ash-shayateen. So Surat Al-Baqarah is a fortress that protects one from devils. Now I want to quickly just open that topic up a little bit, this idea of shayateen. What are they? The word jinn, when mentioned, generally in Arabic, jinn, comes from the word Jannah, the verb, not the Jannah with the ta marbuta. That's a noun, Jannah. Uh, Now, Jannah as in the verb means something that is hidden or unseen. So typically, or jinn would include everything that is unseen. All forms of life that we cannot see are essentially jinn. In fact, some of the ulama say if we're linguistically speaking, even the malak, the angels, are from alamul jinn, meaning they're from the realm of the unseen, if we're going to literally translate alamul jinn, the unseen. Yeah. So that verse in the Quran about the devil, wakana min al jinni, he was from the jinn, meaning that could that mean he's a jinn, as in the jinn, as the way we talk about it, is in the categories of species of things we talk about, or is he from meaning he's just from al jinn, meaning is he from the unseen? It's always the predominantly pretty much agreed upon that he's not an angel, Iblis. So that he's another form of creation of God, what we call jinn, but jinn is a loose term. Like I said, it can include anything to that end. Anna Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the hadith of Imam Muslim, narrated by Abu Huraira, states, "La taj'alu biyutakum qubura." Do not make your houses graveyards. Ay nawiruha basalati wal Quran. That illuminate your houses بالصلاة والقرآن, with prayer and the book of Allah. فإن البيت الذي تقرأ فيه, indeed a house in which Surat Al-Baqarah is read, لا يدخله الشيطان, no devil can enter. Now, very interestingly, the word jinn is not used here. The word shaitan is used here. What does that mean? Can mean many things. It's kind of encompassing the narration. It could mean that people that are religious, that are generally pious, righteous people, evil people don't visit them. Because shayateen min al-ins wal jinn, they're from both tribes, considering they're righteous people. But often it's understood to mean the idea of the unseen, shayateen of the unseen. How do we understand this word shaitan and shayateen from the unseen? Are they a particular group from a group, i.e., are they a type of jinn, or are they something completely different altogether, the shayateen? Now, we don't really know. We don't have much information on that in terms of their reality, their iapsity, what they actually are, or the quiddity even. So what they're formed of. What we do know is that there are several hadith that suggest that jinn are formed of gases. This idea of smokeless fire, but there's other narrations that they're made of rih, meaning they're formed of certain gas particles. So the entities they make up essentially is gas. That's why they're malleable and they can change form and things like that. And they're completely unseen to the naked eye, which means it's possible. I don't think it's possible that we'll ever be able to interact directly, in the sense that mass interact with that unseen realm. Ever really. There's no apparatus that we can make essentially to do that. There are all these kind of things that within religion, or religious people have written about how to interact with jinnat and these things. But so these shayateen, then what are they then? It could be a form, the shayateen are from amongst the jinn. What's a manifestation? Then the ulama write about different types of jinn or shayateen that they assumed they were shayateen anyway, that they experienced, and they document those different types. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yadkhuluhu shaitan." A shaitan will not enter the house. A devil or evil spirit or something like that. وعن سهل بن سعد رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن لكل شيء سنام إن سنام القرآن البقرة وإن من قرأها في بيته ليلا لم يدخله شيطان 3 ليال ومن قرأها في بيته نهارا لم يدخله شيطان 3 أيام. رواه الطبراني وابن حبان في صحيحه. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna likulli shayin sanam." Everything has its peak or its summit, meaning the highest point. Inna sanamul Quran, and that for the Quran is Surat Al-Baqarah. Wa inna man qara'aha, whoever reads it, fi baytihi, in his house, laylan, in the night time, lam yadkhulhu ash-shaytanu thalatha layali. For 3 nights, a devil cannot enter the house. Shaitan cannot enter the house. Wa man qara'aha, and who reads it in the day, Shaitan cannot enter for 3 days in the daytime. And this could mean many, many different things actually. It's so expansive that it could include so many things now. Because Baqarah takes quite long to read as well. So one additional meaning could even be that when one's reciting it, all that period that it takes, you'll be protected from kind of the evil of humans, the shar of humans as well for all that period of time. It was also Surah Al-Baqarah a call or a war cry of the Mujahideen or the warriors of Islam. And for instance, in one battle, the Battle of Hunain, some companions came late and they were coming. And Abu al-Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, shouted and called them and said, Ya ashab shajara, O people who gave bay'ah, who gave allegiance to the Messenger of God under the tree. يعني أهل بيعة الرضوان الذين بايعوا فيها على الموت. He said, وجعل عباس عنه ينادي, he began calling them and saying, Ya ashab Surat Al-Baqarah, O people of Surat Al-Baqarah. And he said that to them, لينشطهم. So he would, nashata means in Arabic, inshat means like to encourage them, to like give, to put them in high spirits. وَيُبْعِثُ فِيهِمْ الْهِمَّةِ, to increase kind of want and desire in them. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, كَم مِّن فِئَةٍ قَلِيلَةٍ غَلَبَتْ فِئَةً كَثِيرَةً بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. How many small group predominate a large group with the permission of God? Allah is with those who are patient. So to prove that small group. فَجَعَلُوا يُقْبِلُونَ عَلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ مِنْ كُلِّ صَوْبٍ وَجِهَةٍ. And then you saw them coming running from every direction towards the Messenger of God after they were known, or he called them Ashabul Baqarah. وكذلك يوم يمامة as well. في الحرب, in Yamama is a battle that took place against Musaylim al-Kadhab. A very interesting strategical battle that takes place. Musaylima is a man that claims prophethood in Yemen. And people are under the assumption that, the reason that the army was sent was merely because he claimed prophethood. It was not that actually. Read Badruddin Aini's comments on that. It wasn't that. In fact, it was a strategic move because he was building support, and eventually he was becoming a huge threat for the Muslims in Arabian Peninsula or in Makkah and Medina. And he was causing people to leave the fold of Islam. That's what his mission was, to take people outside and encourage them with riches, and that's one of the underlying reasons that the army was sent. And they fought Musaylim al-Kadhab. He's the one who said to the Prophet ﷺ, look, let's split he was alive in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, let's split our prophethood in half. You have half of it and I'll have the other half. So, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. And he was killed by Wahshi, who's originally he martyred Sayyidina Hamza in Uhud, and later he becomes a believer, and he strikes the death blow, I think, or was it the first blow maybe, on Wahshi, on Musaylim al-Kadhab, Musaylim of the liar. So it was also a war cry in that battle. جَعَلَ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ يُنَادُونَ يَا أَصْحَابَ سُورَةِ الْبَقَرَةِ. That the Muhajirin and Ansar would shout out and call, O companions of the Surah of Baqarah, the Surah Al-Baqarah, حَتَّى فَطَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَنَصَرَهُمْ, until God gave them a great victory and aided them. So Khalid ibn Ma'adan, he would name Surat Al-Baqarah Fustat al-Quran wa dhalika li'azamatiha. Fustat is like a large canopy. Again, because of its magnanimity, he would call it that. وأقام ابن عمر 8 سنين يتعلم is a beautiful story. And this story is about a story of knowledge and seeking knowledge and benefits of seeking knowledge. And that is Ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Umar said that it took him 8 years, 8 سنين يتعلمها ويتدبرها, in which he learnt, and some say memorized, Surat Al-Baqarah and reflected over it. He reflected over it for 8 years, that very surah, and memorized it over the span of 8 years. Now, the Surat Al-Baqarah is about a couple of juz and a bit, 2 juz and a half, I think. Shouldn't it take like 6 months at most to even memorize them? But no, وَيُحَقِّقُ الْعَمَلْ بِهَا, he would work diligently in practicing everything as much as can be practiced from Surah Al-Baqarah حَتَّى خَتَمَ ذَلِكَ كُلَّهُ, until he finished it. وَنَهَرَ بَدْنَ شُكْرًا لِلَّهِ, and when he finished it, he went and sacrificed an entire camel out of celebration that he had finished his contemplation of Surah Al-Baqarah and his memorization of Surah Al-Baqarah. It shows you that the Quran has unending, unlimited secrets, subtle meanings, and things of that kind that people can constantly derive. And it takes a long time to really, truly understand it, and the different levels, I suppose, but to understand it at all these different levels. Next, the statement Ashru ayatin min surati al-Baqarati aman min kulli makruh. There are 10 verses in this hadith that it's stated in Surat Al-Baqarah that protect one from every makruh, every disliked, every bad thing. The very powerful ayat. Imam Darimi narrates, and from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, that he said, and this is his statement, it's not a hadith of the Prophet, but from his experience, and maybe also he heard it from the Messenger of God. It would be mursal then, if that's the case. Or not mursal, sorry, it would be, at this case, it's mawquf at the Sahabi. He would very well may have taken it from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man qara'a ashra ayatin min Surat Al-Baqarah. He reads 10 verses from Surat Al-Baqarah fi laylatin, in a night. لم يدخل ذلك البيت شيطان. We mentioned earlier that the shaitan doesn't enter that house, or a devil, or devils, or evil spirits. What are those 10 verses? If you want to make a note of them. أربع آيات من أولها. The 4 from the beginning. The 4 from the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. Yep, 4 from the beginning, the first 4 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. Alif Lam Mim. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين, from that. Number 2. So that's 4. Ayatul Kursi. That makes it 5. Allahu la ilaha illa hu al-hayyul qayyum. Wa ayatani ba'daha. The 2 verses immediately after Ayatul Kursi. So we have 4 from the beginning. Ayatul Kursi. The 2 that follow Ayatul Kursi. Wa thalathu ayati min akhiriha. The last 3 verses, which are famous. Aman Rasul bima unzil. Those famous 3 verses at the end of the Baqarah that are commonly used for warding off spirits and evil energy, and bringing about itminan to the heart. Allah bi dhikrillah tatma'innul qulub. Is it not with the remembrance of God that one's heart is put at rest, at ease? And the Quran being shifa'un lil sudur, shifa, cure from anxiety. I would even translate that sometimes, maybe. May work. لم يقربه ولا أهله يومئذ شيطان. That a devil will not come near him or his family. ولا شيء يكرهه, nor something that will compel him to do something harmful or bad, or something that he detests. Yeah. ولا تقرأ على مسروع إلا أفاق. Now this is, what does this mean? That it is not read upon a person who's masru' إلا أفاق, except afaq in Arabic means afaq. When we say أفاق رجل, we mean يعني عاد إلى طبيعته. Afaq means to come to one's senses. The word masru' is used differently. Some say masru' means somebody who's under the influence of magic, or under a temporary, I would say, out of, or they're completely out of character, masru', completely out of character. But generally they use masru' by somebody who's affected by magic, something of that nature. He says, وَلَا تُقْرَأ عَلَى مَسْرُوءٍ إِلَّا أَفَاقٍ, that it will not be read upon a masru', somebody is affected by magic or something, or they're not themselves, إِلَّا أَفَاقَ, except that they return to their tabi'iyya, meaning they return to their senses, come to their senses. This is the statement of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Ayatul Kursi ya Sayyidu Ayat al-Quran. The Ayatul Kursi is the Sayyid, or the head, or the lead of all of the ayat of the Quran. Imam Tirmidhi narrates, لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَنَامٌ وَإِنَّ السَّنَامَ الْقُرْآنِ Surat Al-Baqarah, meaning we talked about this, the peak or the summit. But it has one special verse in it, Surat Al-Baqarah, and Sayyidatu Ayat al-Quran. It's the master verse, you could say. And that is the Ayatul Kursi. There's a hadith of Ubay ibn Ka'ab, and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sa'alahu, he asked the Prophet, أَيُّ آيَةٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ الْأَعْظَمُ, what is the most magnificent verse in the book of Allah? And the Prophet ﷺ said, فَرَدَّدَهَا مَرَّةً, and he asked it several times. And so he was asked, he was asked, and he said, Allah wa Rasuluhu a'lam, God and His Messenger know best. And they kept asking him. Then he said, Ayatul Kursi. Ubay ibn Ka'ab said, Ayatul Kursi. After he was pushed on that. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, further on, there's another, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was said, أعظم آية في القرآن آية الكرسي, the أعظم, the greatest verse in the Quran is آية الكرسي. وأعظم آيات في القرآن, the Quran that shows God's, you could say, justice, is the verse إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان. God commands بالعدل, to justice, and ihsan, to perfection in all actions, that we try to do everything with perfection. إلى آخرها. وأخوف آيات, the ayat that puts the most fear in people. Or I'm going to translate this different. So at the beginning he said أعظم ayat, the ayat that has the most magnanimity. Next there is Ayatul Kursi, the ayat that highlights justice. Is this ayat, the ayat that highlights the most khawf, fear. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, Allah says, whoever undertakes مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ, whoever performs an action that evens the atom's weight, he will see its benefit. Some say that yarahu khayrahu means meaning khayr, yarahu meaning yara khayrahu, he will see his khayr. Some say not restricted, he may not see the khayr of his action in the world, he may see the khayr of his action yawm al-qiyamah, because we clearly will not see all. Allah give us tawfiq to do khayr, to do good, but we clearly won't see the result of all our good actions here. Similarly, we don't see the harm of all our actions except in the akhirah. And whoever does something, an action which is sharp bad, he would see the harm of it. Or he will see, meaning on the Day of Judgment, according to many, this is because the ayah, this part, Surah إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. Allah says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. O my servants, the ones who have wronged themselves. Ya قُل, say, Ya ibadi, O my servants, عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ, that have wronged themselves. لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. Do not despair in the mercy of God. Do not despair. And he said that this verse has the most hope in it. He said this verse is filled with the most hope. Next, Ayatul Kursi Mushtamila al Ism al A'zam. The Ayatul Kursi includes the Al Ism al A'zam. Al Ism al A'zam, there's a whole debate about, does God have Al Ism al A'zam? From all the names of God, which one is the greatest one? Which is the most magnificent one? Remember God, and firstly, let me just mention that there are only two names of God that are names of His essence. So I'll give you an example. You have a name that refers to you. So my name is Sajjad, that refers to me. Now, then somebody may call me by something else. So, somebody will call me Maulana, for instance. Just as a, by the way, just to throw this in there, the reason a lot of people call me that, even some friends of mine, is because that's something that my teacher would call me by. Wasn't an honorific. Just to later, people thought that it was an honorific, like it means ustad or teacher or sheikh. But originally, it was only used with my teacher. That's what we would refer to me by. And even today, when he'll refer to me by that title. So he, from very early on, he would refer so people just picked that up and began to call me, just as a point. So that isn't my name. My name is Sajjad. Now, similarly, in a way, we can say God has names that refer to particular actions of God, like Allah is Rahim, Allah is Jabbar. But are there any names that relate to God's essence, the name of the essence of God? There are two. One is Allah, in Arabic anyway. There may have been others in Suryani and other languages. One is Allah and the other is Ar-Rahman. And the names of the essence cannot be shared with anybody. Ar-Rahman and Allah. This is called Ismul Dhat. Ismul Dhat. Yeah. Now, what is the Ismul A'zam? And many say Ismul A'zam is Allah. Allah. According to the Darqawis, for instance, that's why they do the dhikr of Allah as the divine name. And Asma bint Yazid radiallahu anha قالت سمعت رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام يقول في هاتين الآيتين, about these two verses, الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم, and ألف لام ميم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم إن فيهما اسم الله الأعظم. That in these two verses you have the name of Allah Al-A'zam, Al-Ismul A'zam. Allahu la ilaha and Allahu la ilaha. Yeah. So Imam Bukhari narrates a hadith that Abu Hurairah states, قال وكلني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بحفظ زكاة رمضان فأتاني آتٍ. This is hadith. I'll cover this next week, inshallah. I want to stop there from this point, because that hadith will bring us on to several subtopics. We will be continuing the subject. We have 2 more lessons, inshallah, and we'll finish the book. And then we'll think about what new series we want to start. Okay, I'll see everybody in a day's time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.